12:30 here in the mid-state, so you know what time it is. Time for the Sumner County Sports Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome into another edition. Joining me, as always, behind the scenes is our soon-to-be award-winning producer, Justin Kulik. He officially dropped the intern title that was given to him by Joe Dubin, and now we can officially call him by his given name. So appreciate Justin hopping on the ones and twos for us. I ask you guys this every week, but please don't forget to like, subscribe, and rate the podcast wherever you may be listening. You can follow us on Twitter at Main Street Preps, me on Twitter at Zach Womble MSP, and the show on Twitter at Sumner Sports Pod. You can also check us out on Facebook at Main Street Preps, the Gallatin News, Hendersonville Standard, and the Portland Sun. And if you're watching us on YouTube, give us a follow at Main Street Nashville, Main Street Media TV, where you will find our whole host of videos from Mornings on Main Street with Chris Yao, Main Street Sports Today with Mo Patton and Chris Yao, the George Plaster Show, as well as yours truly. And, of course, you can also find Friday Night Live, our high school football coverage that we bring you every Friday night from 6 to 11. And one last item of note before we dive into today's show, just want to say a huge thank you to the fans who tune in each and every week. Your support is greatly appreciated and noticed, so I just want to say thank you. Our three big headlines for the week. We're going to start off right here in Hendersonville, and we're looking at Beach Hendersonville Soccer, a match that I attended on Tuesday night over at Field of Dreams at Russ Plummer Stadium, a game that Hendersonville took 2-0. And, it was an interesting game for the simple fact that Beach was trying to do something that no team, no program in school history had done up until this point, which is beat Hendersonville in back-to-back seasons on the girls' side. So, they were playing for a little bit of history, but unfortunately just wasn't in the cards for the Lady Bucks as they fell behind early to a Molly Johnson goal with about 13 minutes left, and then Delaney Nemec put the Lady Commandos up 2-0 shortly after the second half started, and it was kind of all Hendersonville from there. So, both teams still have to begin their district slate. It was both teams' first district game of the season. So Hendersonville 1-0 in District 9 3A, Beach 0-1. Everybody still has to play. Everybody, Station Camp has to play, Beach, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. So, a lot to be determined, a lot to be made up before the District 9 3A tournament begins on October 11th. That tournament is actually going to be played at Hendersonville. So, a lot to look forward to, but excited to see what I thought was a pretty good soccer match last night. A little warm, not going to lie, for late September, but you know what, was still a good game nonetheless. And, anytime you can see rivalry games, whether they're Beach Hendersonville, Beach Gallatin, or whatever, I think it's always fun to just to be a part of that atmosphere. And it certainly didn't disappoint last night in what I thought was a really good soccer match. Another big headline for this week is, Gallatin honoring their 30-year state championship team. They won a state football championship in 1992, and they've been honoring that team this entire season. They've put various members of that state championship team on their ticket stubs for their season ticket members. So, Friday is homecoming against Cookeville, and so this will be their opportunity to kind of, have a parade that will, I believe begins at 4:00, going to leave the school, I believe, at 4:00, and going to make its way down through the town up to the stadium. I believe several members of that 92 team have been invited to a luncheon of celebration. I don't know if I'm allowed to disclose the location on that just because I think it's an invite-only thing. But nevertheless, it's going to be a fun night for Gallatin supporters to kind of, remember the good old days, if you will, and just kind of celebrate and join in that fun. They're going to play Cookeville, like I said, who is a pretty good football team. So you never know how the game is going to shake out. But, also featured in the Gallatin News this week to kind of celebrate that team will be a story that will be laid out all throughout the sports pages and the news section as well. So on A1, B1, you can check out full coverage of that. We're going to have interviews with Calvin Short, several players from that team. It's just be a really good commemorative story to have. So if you're a scrapbooker, make sure you pick up the Gallatin News. I believe it's on 9/29, so September 29th. That'll be out. Like I said, they'll obviously honor everybody on Friday. All those stories will be out online then. But as far as like in the newspaper for your, for your mementos and your collections, you're going to want to make sure to pick up that newspaper just to have those. And so really looking forward to seeing that happen and just kind of see everything come to fruition and all those stories to be unfolded. And then our last big thing before we jump into our break, we're talking about Beach Summit. We've got Beach head coach Anthony Crabtree joining us after our first break here in about 5 minutes. So you're going to want to stay tuned to that. But really looking forward to that football game on Thursday. These two teams have kind of made a rivalry out of one another, whether it be the regular season or the postseason, dating back to their time in Class 5A. Now both teams in Class 6A meeting once again. And so should be a really fun game, and I'm looking forward to it. One that, myself, I will be at. John Decker will be there to get photos. So very much looking forward to just seeing how that game unfolds. I really think Beach is kind of starting to, form into the team that we all thought they could be. I'm excited to talk to Coach Crabtree about that after the break, but just really looking forward to that football game, one that I think Beach is going to win, but excited to hear what Anthony has to say just about that. And so, enough teasing of it. So stay tuned after the break. Like I said, we'll have Beach head coach Anthony Crabtree on the other side. You're listening to the Sumner County Sports Podcast here on Main Street Media TV, presented by the Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
It was just a few cocktails at happy hour.
You really good try.
There aren't any cops around.
I didn't think there were any cops around.
I drink and drive all the time.
Sir, you've been in a serious crash. I need you to hang on, okay?
It was just a few drinks. I'm good. I thought it was good.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal. It was no big deal.
Hey, I can hold my liquor. I thought I could hold my liquor.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
And welcome back into the Sumner County Sports Podcast. I, of course, am your host, Zach Womble. Before we get into our interview with Anthony Crabtree, I forgot to mention something about the Beach Hendersonville soccer match that I thought was really interesting. I told you guys that Beach was trying to complete a little school history last night, trying to win in back-to-back years for the first time. Hendersonville, with the win last night, moves to 14-2 against Beach since 2011. And so, when John Ferguson took over the Beach program, he told me that, in order for Beach and Hendersonville to be considered a rivalry, in his mind, that the Beach had to hold up their end of the bargain and start winning some. And so, they won last year. And so I know they really wanted that win last night. And I'll say this, you never know what's going to happen. They could see them again in the district tournament with only 4 teams being in the district. So that may not be the last time those two teams play. You just never know what can happen from there on out. And so, just a really, really, really neat stat that I found last night. And like I said, you can check out my story from that on mainstreetpreps.com. And so, like I said, just a really good night at Drakes Creek Park. And so, trying to filibuster, I'm not going to lie to you, trying to filibuster a little bit, waiting on Beach head coach Anthony Crabtree to get on to the show. I know he's a busy man. We really appreciate him jumping on with us. Coach Crabtree is his skins on the wall speak for themselves, if you will. He's going into this is his 18th season now at Beach High School, and so he's obviously been around the block. And a lot of people would argue that he's probably the best Sumner County coach since Calvin Short, just because of the skins on the wall that he has. And with that, we're going to bring in Anthony Crabtree to the show. Coach, how you doing today, man? We really appreciate you jumping on with us.
I'm good, Zach. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. We were talking just a minute ago. This is your 18th season now, and so that's obviously a long time to be at any one spot. What keeps the spark alive for you?
I think just being a competitor, is the thing that keeps me motivated. I love to compete. I love to try to coach kids to try to find a way to get them motivated to compete and want to perform at their best, regardless of whether they win or lose. But see guys grow and mature and learn and get better as football players and also become better people. It's just that competitive nature, I guess, in life in general that kind of keeps me motivated.
It's been 10 years since your last state title at Beach High School. Maybe I've missed something on a celebration. Maybe you're waiting a little bit longer. But what do you remember about that 2012 team? Because obviously, anytime you win a state title, it's a special season. So, what do you remember about that season?
Well, that group of guys were really special from the standpoint of chemistry. They were obviously a very talented group of young men, but they had great chemistry. They had great leadership. That team had some unbelievable leaders on it. And I think those are things that it takes to be successful, especially, to get to that level and have an opportunity to win a state championship is, number one, you have to be talented, but number two, you also have to have a great chemistry and you have to have great leadership. And, that team really had all three of those things together. So they were really fun to coach.
I have a question. Was Christopher Carroll on that 2012 team? That Christopher Carroll, of course, being one of your assistant coaches?
Yes, he was. He played inside linebacker, played a little bit of offense here and there, but mostly was a leader on the defensive side of the ball and played inside linebacker and, had an exceptional year. And I think he would tell you that was one of the maybe the most fun team that he ever played on in any sport was that team that was able to go 15-0 and win a state championship.
Is there an added bonus to having someone like that on your staff, a former player that can maybe relate to the current guys on a different level? Is there an added bonus to having him a part of your staff because of that?
Yeah, I think there's several advantages to having those guys. Number one, having grown up here in this community and went to school here and, has great beach pride, Buccaneer pride. He loves Beach High School, loves the Shackle Island community, and was able to, have a really successful athletic career at Beach High School. He went on to play baseball at Belmont and, just having those experiences and Beach High School and this community meaning so much to him. He brings that back to our players on a daily basis. He can relate to where they are, the things they go through day to day, and then the pride that you have to, continue to work hard and give yourself a chance to be successful in whatever sport it is that you're trying to play here at Beach High School. So certainly. he's a great advocate on our coaching staff for Beach High School in general.
Obviously you guys dropped a really tough game with Farragut in week one. I don't think anyone would, scoff at that loss. Farragut's a very talented football team. But I'm curious, how much of, that loss do you attribute to the success that your team has enjoyed the past 3 weeks?
Well, you know, we didn't play terrible that first game. You know, defensively, we gave up, I think, maybe 4 plays that were over 40 yards, which is very unusual, I feel like, for our defense. And that's, you know, one of the things that kind of got us in trouble. But we did a lot of things, you know, that didn't help toward winning the game. But, you know, our guys just came back and they knew they had to go to work and had to try to fine-tune some things and fix a couple of things that, you know, we did wrong and, you know, just go back and compete again. And, you know, we went the next week to Henry County and had a big win over a really, really good 5A football team. You know, and that kind of got us kick-started, I think. So, you know, they lost kind of made us realize, hey, you know, we still have work to do. You know, we're not quite ready to play. So those guys buckled down and had a great week of practice going into week 2 and, you know, kind of been on a roll since then.
Yeah, kind of answer my next question then, because I was going to say you win at Henry County, which, let me just say, side note, has turned into must-see. I would say must-see TV because, you know, it has been on TV, but, you know, not every game's been on TV, but a must-see game every year. And you follow it up with 2 huge region wins, including Hendersonville. So it sounds like to me that you feel like your team is starting to round into that form that you hope they could be. Is that fair?
Well, I think we're headed in the right direction. You know, I think every team would tell you that, you know, no team is perfect. You know, everyone makes mistakes and there's always things you're trying to get better at. And, you know, we go out every single day and try to get better at the fundamentals of football. And, you know, I think our guys are headed in a good direction. You know, we have some good leadership. We have good team chemistry. You know, our guys are playing their guts out every time we go out on Friday night and play. They're doing everything they can to give us a chance. And, you know, as long as we can stay healthy and, you know, continue to give great mental effort, just like we do physical effort on Friday nights, then, you know, we'll compete and, you know, we'll have a chance to win some more games.
You know, I have to ask about your staff a little bit, Coach. You lose Bill Alexander, your defensive coordinator, to Liberty Creek. Seth McFerrin follows Bill to Liberty Creek. You bring in Brent Russell to be your defensive coordinator. Obviously, there were things that you guys liked about each other in the process, right? That's why you ended up hiring him. But what I am curious about is what has made the transition at least appear to be so smooth?
Well, you know, Coach Russell's he's a veteran coach. He's not a rookie. I mean, he's coached a lot of football. He's a really smart guy. You know, he understands the game of football. You know, he came in and, you know, took the bull by the horns and, you know, kind of brought his stamp to our defensive side of the ball. And, you know, he does an excellent job of studying film and, you know, trying to prepare our guys for what's coming up on Friday night. And he don't want the other team to do anything, you know, that our guys haven't seen or we haven't talked about, or which is almost impossible, you know, because there's too many things to look at and only X number of hours in a day for practice. But, you know, he's done a really good job of coming in and getting our other coaches to, you know, to buy into his philosophy, his beliefs. And, you know, they're working really hard on the defensive side of the ball to kind of continue the success that we've had in the past.
You know, starting with Thursday, you play against Summit, and then, you know, continuing with the conversation of non-league games, you play Summit, you play Springfield, you play Brentwood. Whether a Brian Coleman team, whether a Dustin Wilson team, whether a Clint Finch team, how do those programs prepare you for that 6A playoff push that you're going to have to inevitably go through?
Well, they're all really good football teams. They're all really well coached. You know, Springfield is a little bit different style of football than Summit. Summit's kind of a hybrid wing T spread team. They've been throwing the ball around a whole lot. They're almost, I guess they're, you know, close to 50-50 run pass. Probably depends on what they're having the most success with. And then Springfield, you know, they throw it around some because of the quarterback and a couple of receivers they have, but they really would prefer to run the football. And then Brentwood, you know, Brentwood's a spread team that, you know, is going to take what you give them, and they're going to throw a lot of different formations at you. And, see if you can figure out how to line up, and if they can have success running the ball, they'll run it. If not, they'll throw it all over the field. So anytime you play that level of competition, and you can, whether you win or lose, but you can come out healthy. Obviously, if you can win, it's a benefit to your program. But if you can compete and keep the game close and not get blown out, your guys have a chance to win. I think there's always something learned from that, and I definitely think it prepares you for what you're going to see in the playoffs.
Definitely a great non-league schedule. Coach, I'm going to let you get out of here with this. I'd be crazy, and I'm going to run the risk here of leaving some kids' names off, but I'd be crazy to have you on and not talk about some of your special players, whether it be the J.P. Courtneys of the world, Tyler Nix, Bronco Hanks, Caden Thyman, Darius Johnson, Justice Law, your quarterback. I mean, I could keep going. Those experienced starters from last year, they remember what it feels like to lose in the quarterfinals last season. What have you seen from those guys this year that lends you to believe that maybe this year could be one of those special years that you guys are kind of have grown accustomed to over in Shackle Island?
Well, those guys are our leaders. The guys that played last year, actually, Tyler and JP have started since they were sophomores in our secondary. So they're, Bronco started as a freshman, an inside linebacker. So those guys right there are, they know what it takes. They know what you have to do to be successful, and they know how hard it is when you get to the second, third round of the playoffs to take that extra step, that next step, and get to the semis. And you have to have, a lot of things go your way. You have to stay healthy. You have to win a turnover battle. You have to have great chemistry amongst your team. We've got some guys in the trenches that played last year that are really, really playing their tail off this year. Maddox Sorensen, Mason Reeves, Jacob Evner playing on the offensive line, Buster Overstreet, Jeffrey Powell. I mean, those guys, they're the heart of our team right now. They're giving us everything they have. And, in order for us to have a chance to be successful, all those guys are going to have to stay healthy. Reese Flowers is another guy that played a lot last year that's a senior that, brings great leadership to our team. So we have a lot of those guys, and we need those guys to continue to have a great attitude and continue to have a great work ethic and stay healthy. And, let's just see what happens.
Coach, when I talked to you in the preseason, you told me that, you needed some of your offensive linemen to beef up a little bit. We joked that maybe we could get you over to Pizza Ranch, maybe get them eating. It sounds like they're eating, because it sounds like they're doing their job.
Well, they are. I'd still like to have a Pizza Ranch contract so those guys could get over there and put on more weight. I'm not sure we've gained much weight, but, those guys are just tough. I mean, they're just tough physically. They're tough mentally. They're seasoned. That's what you want out of a senior class. That's the way your seniors and your senior leaders should be. And I think those guys are. And, we're excited to see, what's going to happen the rest of this season.
Very good. Well, Coach Crabtree, best of luck with prep, today, and then, tomorrow. Good luck in the game, and we'll catch up soon. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir, Coach. That was Beach Head Coach Anthony Crabtree joining us on the Sumner County Sports Podcast. We're going to take a quick break, but when we do, we're going to hand out our Player of the Week award, and then we're going to go into overtime and, going to give you a lot to look forward to. So stay through on the other side of the break. This is the Sumner County Sports Podcast presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
You really good try.
There aren't any cops around. I didn't think there were any cops around.
I drink and drive all the time.
Sir, you've been in a serious crash. I need you to hang on, okay? Tell me your name, sir.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good. I thought it was good.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal. It was no big deal.
Hey, I can hold my liquor. I thought I could hold my liquor.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Welcome back to the Sumner County Sports Podcast. We are presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk. We really appreciate you tuning into today's show. We gave you 3 big headlines. We brought you a great interview with Beach head coach Anthony Crabtree. So only a couple more things left to do, and that is hand out our Player of the Week award this week. And we're going to hand it out to Hendersonville senior Steven Mack. Steven Mack was all over the place for the Commandos, rushing for 22 carries, 229 yards, had a touchdown called back against Gallatin. They were able to get a big win over their longest rival in Sumner County history. So congratulations to Hendersonville senior Steven Mack on his Player of the Week award this week. And I hate to do it to you. I know we just came back. We're going to take a quick break after this one. We got to get 3 breaks in. I'm sorry. We're going to take a quick break. But when we do, we're going to close it out with overtime, and that's going to do it for this week's episode.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good. I thought I was good.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal.
It was no big deal.
Hey, I can hold my liquor. I thought I could hold my liquor.
And we're back just like that. I told you it was going to be quick. Listen, we've got one more item on the agenda before I let you go on this week's episode of the Sumner County Sports Podcast. I like to go into overtime. Sue me. So we're going to talk about a little bit about Tennessee because they're 3-0. I was able to go on the road last week or 2 weeks ago to Pittsburgh, see them win. They have a pretty big football game coming up on Saturday against Florida. And I'll be honest with you. Listen, I'm 32 years old, so my formative years, all I saw was the University of Florida beat Tennessee. I mean, it was death, taxes, and losing to Florida. I mean, it just is what it is. We are to Florida what Kentucky is to the University of Tennessee, just owned. I mean, that's who owns the University of Tennessee. It's the University of Florida. So, you know, it's been a tough series, 16 out of 17. I've heard it all. But this year, I really feel like the Vols get it done. Got game day coming in Knoxville. Going to checker Neyland. It's a sellout. Going to be a beautiful day. 2:30 game. The only thing bad about it is I got to hear Gary Danielson call a football game and Brad Nessler. It's just like I may just listen to the game on mute, but nevertheless, I'm either going to be very happy come Saturday night or I'm going to be very sad. So if I'm sad, please check on me because I'm probably going to be going through it on Twitter. Just send me a message. Tell me it's going to be okay. And like I said, say in my bio, some tweets are good, some tweets are bad. So if we're on the wrong side of it, I'm just going to go ahead and apologize now. But that said, I do think Tennessee comes away with the win. So go Vols forever and always. You know how we end the show here. We crumble up some paper, which I got to get a couple here. Got to crumble up some paper. We're going to shoot it in that basket. You know, I have been called the Steph Curry of paper basketball. Not to put too much pressure on myself, but let's see if we can't get this one in. I mean, you know, even Steph misses too. I'll see you next week.